Welcome back into part two of Snacks and I's 2019 redraft. After we recorded, I realized I missed the Dolphins pick, which was Christian Wilkins. I will quickly say I had Brian Burns there. I don't know, good D lineman, linebacker they could have taken, I guess. So I'm sorry for skipping that. But today we have 17 through 32. We're starting it right off the rip with your Giants here, who took Dexter Lawrence in the Odell trade. They got rid of a washed-up, overpaid receiver, and they got plenty of a haul, you could say. So I think it was definitely worth it. But who did you have your Giants redrafting or drafting the same player?
Yeah, so Dexter Lawrence is who we took at 17, and after his rookie year, he really performed well. He's not going to show up too much in the stat sheet, which is fine, but he's a force, and he's young, and he's got plenty of upside. But the Giants, they needed – if they're going to go Daniel Jones at 6, they had no offensive line at this point. And I think center is probably – obviously left tackle is the most important position on the offensive line. That's without a doubt. But center is a massively underrated position in football. And Garrett Bradbury went the pick after him to the Minnesota Vikings. Garrett Bradbury is who I'd take here for the Giants. Lock up your center long term. You got a guy that can build continuity with your rookie quarterback. You started from day one. So that's the guy I would have looked at. That's the guy I probably wanted there. I'm not mad about the Dexter Lawrence pick, but I would have went Garrett Bradbury.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad pick. He'll be the Viking center for probably quite a bit of time from what it looked like last year. I went Montez Sweat. He went to the Redskins. He had a pretty good rookie year. We say edge rush. Yeah, he had a good year, but it's also because he's like the worst in the front seven possibly. So like that shows how good the front seven is. So maybe that's why he wasn't blocked as much. But I still think you really couldn't have gone wrong at this pick. I think this is the moneymaker part of the draft we see most years, because this is when people start. They might overvalue a guy on their board, whereas they could have just taken the easy answer, stuff like that. But I think Lawrence, he's a guy that won't demand a lot of money to play D tackle for the Giants for his whole career. I don't even know what a friendly D tackle contract is, but he definitely just a centerpiece in the middle of the defense there. So I like that pick. The Vikings are up next. They took Bradbury. I had them retaking Bradbury because that was like the locked-in pick for like 2 months prior to the draft. Yeah. Everyone knew they were going him, but obviously he's gone for you. So who would you have them take here?
I gave him Dexter Lawrence. I gave him the next pick. I know the D line is good, but Dexter Lawrence is a guy that watching him the way he played. Maybe it's a little bias on me, but a talent like that in a Mike Zimmer defense, I feel like could be even more explosive than he was. Probably a luxury pick, kind of like what the Bills did with their regular pick with Ed Oliver last year. But I had him taking Lawrence, so built on strength. That's where I went. I thought they could have went a few different options, but a stout defense. That's where I went. They could have built the offensive line. They could have went Andre Dillard, but I'm not his biggest fan. So I went with Lawrence here.
Yeah,
maybe it's biased because I wanted to show Dexter some love.
No, I think they're a team that every year, no matter how many holes we give them, they're always 9-7 in the playoff contention. So I think really any way you slice it, have been a good pick here. So yeah, I think Bradbury and Lawrence, you kept them switch, and then I have Lawrence falling just a little bit if I remember right. Just a little bit. But next up, the Tennessee Titans here. They took Jeffrey Simmons, who actually played really, really good last year when he was in. But I gave him DK Metcalf because I think
yep, same one.
Self-explanatory. They had A.J. Brown. They saw how much of a difference maker he was. I will say I don't think DK could have done what A.J. Brown did if he was the only guy. But I think in reality to really what the team needed, this would be the pick here. Hollywood possibly interchangeable. I don't really know. I just think A.J. Brown – I don't think he's really an alpha receiver. I think he's more of a game changer where DK could be more of a alpha receiver that's as safe. So I think that might have been the redo pick. But really any receiver I could have saw him taking here.
Right, and I couldn't agree more. Like you said, they took AJ in the second round, and obviously receiver was a big need, massive need after Corey Davis completely busted. But DK, as somebody who wasn't a fan of DK coming in, we saw what he could do in Seattle. Like you said, he's probably, it's probably a different story without like a Tyler Lockett gaining attention on the other side. But Seattle's a run-heavy team. Tennessee's a run-heavy team. I think that DK would figure it out. I think the coaching staff would figure it out, and DK would still be productive and worthy of this pick right here. So I took DK with you.
For sure. All righty. Next up, the Broncos. As gross as this is to say, I gave him Dwayne Haskins because in reality, that's probably who they would have taken if this was the case. It's probably who they should have stayed at 10 and taken in perspective to like what would have made sense, what they did last year.
Yeah.
So I went them here because, I don't know, they needed a linebacker, O-line, and then like it was kind of up in the air what else they needed. So they went Fant, obviously. So Dwayne Haskins here. Who do you have?
Well, pivoting wise, like going based on this draft now, I got Haskins here too, because if they're gonna, if they wanted Drew Lock, why not take him there? If that's their guy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So they clearly wanted to get their next franchise guy, and the next franchise guy on the board, franchise guy for on experts and combine and everything was Dwayne Haskins. So why not take him here and build around him? You have the defense, solid offensive line. You had, you got playmakers. You had Freeman, Lindsey at the time. Lindsey is a stud. So I think Haskins would have came into a good situation. So I am in agreement. I pivoted a little bit based on what we've gone from this draft. There's actually a few picks I've changed since we started, but Haskins is the guy I would take here for Denver.
For sure, and I don't even want to say if it would have been better or worse, or I don't really know. That's definitely something that we'll never know for sure. So the Packers are up next. We had them taking Terry at 12 over Rashawn Gary, and here I kept Savage here. The man was a beast last year. Safeties always go undervalued to me, especially the Giants getting McKinney. Like they're players that like people don't understand the value of for some reason, especially after seeing like Eric Berry for a long time, Tyrann Mathieu in the Super Bowl, Earl Thomas, even Justin Simmons for the Broncos now, Eric Weddle. Like it's crazy that safeties go undervalued every single year. Like Winfield was round 2, McKinney was round 2, Savage like 21 is pretty early for probably the average, you could say ADP or draft slot of safeties, but still though, like now he was a difference maker right away. He played a ton of snaps, and he will be their franchise safety for a long time.
100%. And I think over the last probably 5 years, and it's really a testament to your point, that the safety position has really taken a hit of value. I don't know why. Like, if I'm the Jets and I'm looking at Jamal Adams, I'm paying that guy what he wants. I'm making him the highest paid safety in football. He's that good. He's your defensive anchor. He covers half the field this way. He does everything you want to do. And a guy like Darnell Savage is anchoring the back end of your defense for a decade, hopefully. So I'm in complete agreement, and I think that the fact that the safety position is being devalued like it is kind of a travesty. McKinney at 36 for the Giants.
Still, he's probably a top 20 player, like overall in the draft or whatever. So
I thought the Cowboys were going to take him where they took CD, but
yeah, but they aren't smart about their money, so it doesn't really matter. The only reason I could see safeties being undervalued is probably because we see a lot of corners convert to safety when they get older. Kareem Jackson for the Broncos is an example. Yeah. That's actually pretty common, just for obvious reasons. They shut down corners can't be shut down corners when they're 30 years old for age issues, obviously. So
back in the day, I don't know if you remember Antrell Roll. He used to be a cornerback for Arizona. Started transitioning to safety towards later on in his contract with Arizona, and then the Giants signed him as their free safety, and it was one of the best signings in Giants history. So I get that transition, but safety is 100% a very important position.
Mm-hmm, for sure. All righty, next up, the Eagles went Andre Dillard. I gave him Dillard again because that was like they needed this pick. Like they needed a tackle here. They traded up to get Andre Dillard, and in perspective to the rest of the tackles in this class, not looking good. He played okay last year. He played just average, but we're going to really see this year, especially because Brandon Brooks just tore his ACL, so he's out for the year. Dillard might have to play guard. Jason Peters is still a free agent. So I think we'll really see if the pick was worth it here. And to be honest, he could play average, and this O-line would still be good because it's just a good offensive line as it is. So I just kept him here. I don't maybe receiver, but they didn't really need one last year because they had Deshaun Jackson and Jeffrey healthy. So Andre Dillard's my pick.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I actually went with Hollywood Brown here. I know Jeffrey is some guy I never really trusted, and Deshaun was a little bit older, so I thought adding some youth in the first round for a team, for a roster that was pretty well built already. I thought that this was kind of a luxury pick, and you could take a talented deep threat like Hollywood Brown and just give Carson Wentz more help. So that's where I went with this pick. But Dilliard, honestly, you can't really argue it. Same pick. He's got the potential. He's got the upside. But this is a very big year for him. Like you said, Brooks is out. Peters free agent. Peters is gone. It doesn't look like they're going to re-sign him, which I don't know why they wouldn't at this point. Just to bring him back some continuity. But I went Hollywood here because I just think that while maybe it's redundant with Deshaun on the team, I'm not really trusting Deshaun for more than a year, and I'm going to get a 20-year-old Hollywood Brown who just excelled down the field in Oklahoma. So that's where I went.
Yeah, I mean, then they basically did that this year with Rager, John Hightower, Quez Watkins. So, I mean, in reality, they could have gone Hollywood and then gone O-line or defense or whatever they needed this year. So they probably dropped the ball on that. But they obviously like him. Like I said, they traded up. So maybe there is something we're just not – we didn't see last year, so we can hope. Well, I guess you don't hope for that. I only hope because I just want them to beat the Cowboys because people think the Eagles are bad for some reason now.
They're
not. I don't know where the whole –
stay healthy, the team is very good.
For sure. And they have Jalen Hurts now as their backup too. So, yeah. All righty. This pick is gross. So, Bill O'Brien doing Bill O'Brien things. They didn't trade up. I didn't remember if they traded up or not. They took Titus Howard here, and he was one of the guys that was like, he's probably going to be a first-round pick the last, 2 weeks of the draft. And everyone's like, well, great. Now we have to slide him into our mock draft. Someone has to take him. And it was the biggest position of need for them. They obviously needed O-line. My guess is they wanted Dilliard because the Eagles jumped him when in reality the Raiders weren't taking O-tackle and the Ravens weren't taking O-tackle. So my guess is the Texans wanted him. And they went Titus Howard. I gave him Jawan Taylor because that was the next best O-tackle who went in round 2. But he didn't go in round 1 because he had some injury concerns with his heart or something, if I remember right. So it's a crapshoot for the Texans.
Always.
I don't even know what to say, but somehow they're going to find a way into the playoffs like they always do.
I know. It must be nice playing in a shitty division.
I know, you can go 9-7 every year, and it never fails. Week 17 is always the division deciding game, and they're 10-7 is the final score.
I feel like Sunday Night Football Week 17 is always a game for the division or a playoff spot, and it's always the AFC South. Always.
Yeah, because it always gets flexed to there. Okay, it's the only game people like.
Right, exactly. It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. I took since I gave Philly Hollywood Brown, I had Dilliard here, which would have been 20 times better pick than Titus friggin' Howard, who is an atrocity of an offense staff.
Alabama State. That's so gross. I don't even.
Bill O'Brien doing Bill O'Brien thing.
And I don't even know. He might be the next best offensive tackle, in reality. But just take a guard or something. I don't know. You see so many O-line switches inside, positional switches from guard to tackle to center, whatever. So I think it was a Bill O'Brien move for sure. That's what happens when you put your bad head coach as part owner of the team. That's just what's going to happen. The Raiders at 24 here, they took Josh Jacobs. This was also a locked-in pick, it seemed like. I gave him Hollywood Brown here. Yeah, it was don't take running backs in round 1. Unless it's Saquon, plain and simple, don't take running backs in round 1. I gave him Hollywood here just because I think they would have. I guess just the reason to put it, I think that at 24, our game-changer guy like that. Obviously, they took Ruggs because they know to beat speed on the Chiefs, you have to have speed. The Broncos did the same exact thing. So I think maybe if they would have developed that mindset last year, they would have taken him at 24. He was on the board too because he went the next pick to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And Jacobs played really good. He's a good athlete, good franchise running back, but you just don't take running backs in round 1, plain and simple. So
no, you don't. And I unfortunately kept Jacobs here. I completely agree with you. You don't take running backs round 1, but I just saw, I guess looking back, maybe I was too conscientious of the fact that seeing what Jacobs did is why I kept him. But you're 100% right. You're not taking running backs. Hollywood would have been a great pick. I think you had Montez Sweat going to
the Giants. The Giants.
You did. Okay. So I debated Montez Sweat here for me. But I kept Jacobs just knowing what he did. And that's on me
Sure.
because it's not my philosophy, but I kept him.
Yeah. If they actually had to redo it, they would probably go Jacobs 9 times out of 10.
Right.
Maybe take Sanders 1 time. So yeah, I definitely think it's probably what they would do. And then speaking of Hollywood, he went 25 to the Ravens here. I gave the Ravens Debo Samuel just because I think yet again another step down. I don't even know it's step down. I think they're two completely different receivers. Personally, I think Debo would be a lot more useful in this offense in the long term from what we saw in the playoffs last year. But in reality, like you can't compare Hollywood and Debo. So next best receiver, you could say at this pick. But he's got a completely different type of receiver, so I don't even know if it's the next best. So I just think maybe they would have went him here, but in reality, they could have gone really anybody.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. I'm a big Debo guy, so that's to me. I think that would have fit that mold in that franchise perfectly. But I can't hate it, can't knock it.
Yeah, I mean maybe they would have gone Harry. I don't know like who. I wish I think we could.
But
yeah, I don't know.
I guess I was taking a lot of things like what I've seen, as opposed to like drafting them what I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kept Jacobs with Oakland or Las Vegas, whatever the frick you want to call him.
Yeah, who cares?
No, I told you I wouldn't. I'm trying to get better.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I wish people could see is like teams' big boards after the draft.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would like give away like formulas or like Moneyball stuff after the fact, but like I think that'd be cool to see. I mean, because like obviously the Ravens don't care about receiver that much, or else they would have had 3 starting receivers by now, not Willie Snead, Marquise Brown, and Devin Duvernay. So like we do as an actual pick of need. Was it a number 1 receiver? Like stuff like that. I wish that's something we could see following the draft, which will probably never ever happen. But yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting to see how teams construct that, because there'll definitely be some, for example, Bill O'Brien to John Gruden to I don't know Kevin Stefanski, the analytics guy now, Gettleman, the wizard with his stack of textbooks at his one little laptop on his desk. That still was the best picture of all time. And then Belichick with his dog wasn't even on the screen.
By the way, okay, Gettleman gets ripped for that binder. He actually had a very nice draft. Okay,
he knows what he's doing, and the Bills GM.
When it comes to the draft, he knows what he's doing. I'll give him. That's the only thing I'll give him. That's it.
Like, that's really like, but in reality, that's all you need your GM 100%. To do. Like,
100%.
Like, and the Bills guy, Bean, maybe, or
Brian Bean.
He was like hyping him up because like I think there was the aspect where like they were like the Giants are going to take Isaiah Simmons at 4, like they're going to take something they don't need. And like
the whole big running joke was
Herbert.
It was not Herbert. That was all bullshit. No, there you go. There I cursed. Derek Brown.
Yeah.
And Gettleman loves defense tackles. They're going to take him 4. They already have 3 legitimate. Actually, you could probably argue 4 legitimate starting defensive tackles on their team already. They were just going to take another one because he's that good. So that was the whole running joke. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and the Buffalo GM like straight up said, I think it was on Pardon My Take, was like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Like he's a smart guy. Like everyone makes fun of him.
Got
like,
you all fooled, yeah.
And if you look at the last 2 drafts, like what do you have? He had 3 picks in the first round. I don't know how many after. Like he hasn't had bad drafts before that. I don't know if he's the one that picks Barkley and Hernandez. Like obviously,
yep.
If you go back, you'd probably want Quentin Nelson over Barkley. But like, come on, like it was Barkley at the time. So like, he's had good drafts. So
he has, and he picked Darius Slayton this past in the 5th round. Like the guy, he's got an eye for college talent. He really does. I cannot knock him on that. Some of the contracts he's give out, Alec Ogletree trading for him, Nate Solder, questionable. But you know what? When it comes to the draft, the guy does he eyes talent and he knows what he's doing. So I can't knock him for it.
It's all right. It's all right. The Redskins at 26 here. They went Montez Sweat. I gave him Jeffrey Simmons. Obviously because they care about their front 7, because they went out and drafted another front 7 member, totally disregarding their cornerbacks, where their best one is a slot corner. The other ones, I don't even know who they have at corner. Whole different conversation. They should have went Jeff Okudah, not Chase Young. But they obviously care about their front 7. So I'm going to give him Jeffrey Simmons. He played really great last year for the Titans, like I said. And he'll have an even bigger role now that the Titans basically shipped off Terrell Casey for half a sandwich to the Broncos. So, yeah, I don't – whatever. Montez Sweat here. You have not taken it, or you have not taken him yet. So did you change the pick here?
No, I did not. I actually kept it.
Yeah, this was a good pick here. I think it was.
At 4-26, I know he had coming in, he had like the heart problem, so that kind of made teams a little weary. But I mean, raw athletic ability, what he did at A&M, he was a beast. So getting him at 26 is to me was a steal.
And I think
comeback team.
I'm trying to think, like a heart problem or something, because he was like top 10 pick. He was a beast.
Top 10 talent easily.
It was him and Jeffrey Simmons were like the D line from Mississippi State, and they had some quarter. No, I don't think they were good. They were ranked. I don't remember who their quarterback was. It was some nobody if I remember right. But yeah, obviously they were right up there for a reason. And both those guys went late, you could say, or relatively lower than where they probably should have gone.
Where they should have, right? If they don't have any of those like pre-medical issues or anything like that, they go way higher. So getting them there, how do you change it?
For sure. All righty, the Raiders are up for their third pick of the first round. They went Jonathan Abram. I think he would have played really great, another Mississippi State guy, but he got hurt, so we don't really know. But I pivoted and I went Dexter Lawrence because in my redraft they didn't get any D linemen. Obviously, they went and got Pharrell and Max Crosby, so I think that's what they would have went there. But I am excited for Abram because I think it's another one of those safeties where he will be a game changer. Because I mean, if you saw the Hard Knocks before last season,
it was unbelievable.
And he was like crazy too. He was like, I just want to hit. Like he was like tackling people when they were in shells, which is like no pads. Like, and Gruden was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I just want to hit people. I just want to hit people." So,
man, I love this guy. Man, what a pick, man! I love this guy.
So I think he'll be fun. I think he'll be really good if he can stay healthy because he definitely was a fun guy to watch on Hard Knocks. So did you change the pick here or?
I took Farrell here because I didn't take Farrell yet.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if he made my first. Yeah, he didn't even make my first round. So
yeah, no, I took Farrell here. I debated keeping Abram here because I liked what I saw in Hard Knocks and whatnot. But I'm like, if Farrell's going forward, then that means they're very high on him. And if he's falling where I'm taking him, I do think Farrell was the first round talent. So I didn't want to keep him out of the first round. So I just put him back with Oakland where he went from 4 to 20, what is it, 27?
Yeah.
28. I'm sorry. Yeah, 27. So I kept Farrell here. But, I mean, Abrams, fantastic pick, and I think he's going to be a stud. I was really upset he got injured because I loved him. That Hard Knocks did, like, not impress me. I didn't enjoy it much. He was, like, the highlight of it. And it's not – I'm not saying he's going to be a great player based on Hard Knocks or whatnot. He was a great player in college. The guy's got intensity. He's got everything you want for a safety. And I think he's going to have a very bright, promising career. So I was debating on keeping him here, but Farrell kept falling when I did it. So I put Farrell here.
For sure. And I'm going to pivot here on this next one. So the Chargers are up. They went Tillery. I kept him here, but I completely forgot about Farrell. So I'm going to go Farrell here. But Tillery, they did trade up to get.
He's a player.
So maybe they would have retaken him because obviously they traded up and they liked him. He played okay. I mean, it's hard to ball out on that defensive line that good with the corners that are that good, the linebackers that are that good. So, yeah, I'll go Farrell just because I kind of forgot and he just kind of fell down here. But I think Tillery would definitely be in play for him.
And this is where I took Abram. I went back. I switched him here. I didn't want him to fall too far. And, Derwin James and Abram, that could potentially be a very devastating duo.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. And they have a good free safety too, if I remember right. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Exactly. And Derwin James is all over the field. So it's like if you can have Abram back there and Derwin James being up on the line of scrimmage and everything. Sorry to your Broncos. You're lucky.
Their defense is already scary now. They took Chris Harris.
They got those bookend DNs. It's unbelievable. Real quick, just because I want to throw this in there. As a Bronco fan, I know the Chiefs are the Chiefs. We're not catching the Chiefs. Let's try and win 10 games, get in the playoffs. Are you worried about the Chargers? They have a very good roster. They improved that D-line. Improved the O-line. They have the bookend DNs in Ingram and Bosa. Derwin James is coming back healthy. They got Chris Harris, your boy. The quarterback is really holding them back.
Yeah, I think me and Max did an episode, and that came out last week. he was like off the Chargers. Like he was like, I don't think they're that good. But like I look at it both ways because their O-line got really good. Like it got
Really?
really, really good. Like probably top 5 in the league.
Yeah. In the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Then they literally just got rid of Okun, got Turner, and then signed Balaga, and it's like, yep, fixed. But to me, the way I look at it, if Chris Harris is your third best corner, like that's scary. That's when the Broncos won the Super Bowl, when Harris was like breaking out. And then they have Derwin James. They got Kenneth Murray, which I think trading up for him was probably a bad move anyways because you need depth. But, yeah, they're a good team. They're probably their worst offensive weapon is Hunter Henry or Justin Jackson, whatever roles they have. So, yeah, I think they're going to be pretty good because Tyrod Taylor's not bad.
I don't think right, exactly. And I'm sorry. I do have to listen to your Max's podcast episode because I was actually intrigued listening to like other, you guys are Bronco fans. So I kind of wanted to gain more knowledge on your thoughts on like the AFC West, which I think, no offense, outside of like Kansas City, those 3 teams are like, kind of like neck and neck, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And it's always been like that. Like it's never really been like a one-sided division until like these last 5 years of Manning and Mahomes. So
right.
I don't know. I mean,
I think that could be a sneaky, really good division. Maybe not sneaky because there's talent all over the board, but the Chargers are a team to me. Like, if Tyrod Taylor plays well, I'd look the fuck out. Sorry, I cursed again. I would look the fuck out. And again, because that roster to me is as talented and as deep as most of the rosters in the NFL. So it all depends on that quarterback play. Eckler's a beast. Keenan Allen's going to do what he does. Like you said, Henry might be the worst playmaker on the team. Mike Williams, that big deep threat, you just throw the ball up to him. But that defense is real, and that offensive line got real. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think, really, if you think about it, like if Tyrod's still in, they're competing, or else it's going to be Herbert. So, like,
right, exactly, yeah.
Like we will know if Tyrod is good or not because he'll be the starter by. I think they have a bye week 11. Because I think I was looking at it like really for fantasy rosters, like do I want Tyrod Taylor on my dynasty teams like as my 2 because if he plays as good as I think he can, he's going to be the starter up until week 11. And then if they say they're 6-4, they're not going to pull him at 6-4, especially because 7 teams make the playoffs now. Like. All 4 teams could make it from the division now. Like that's actually possible this year. So,
theoretically, yeah.
So I think it'll be cool to see. To me, I mean, like obviously, I think the Chiefs are the best. I think it's good that the whole division's competitive. Now I think it's going to be a lot more fun for a division that's kind of just been like 9-7 makes the playoffs, except the last couple of years, like I said. But like in reality, the division kind of sucks. But now I think it's definitely a step up.
Yeah, like the Raiders were dog shit for years.
The Chargers were just up and down. The Broncos were up and down. The Chiefs were terrible until they got Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I've been telling that is a very, very good division. Very good.
I think it'll be hopefully be fun, I guess. Yeah, the Broncos got to hit first if it's going to be fun. But
listen, they have just as good of a roster. So – it's almost the same boat. Like I know we're pivoting from the draft. We have like 3 left, but it just brought it to my attention when you brought up your podcast with Max. And I know me and him talk like Giants Denver all the time, but like they'll go as far as Drew Lock takes him. And if Drew Lock is like regressing, I don't see much. I don't. I think their offense is still very shaky. Judy to me was a luxury pick. Like he fell, I get it, but. I liked they took Hamler in the second round too. Like if that's going to be your move,
yeah, it was interesting. But I'm glad. I guess looking back at it, I'm glad they stuck to what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
because like I said, but then if I think about it, say Locke doesn't pan out, say we have the 5th pick, you already had the team to insert a quarterback. So like I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it.
I hear you. But the worst case scenario is. They kind of play like they did the first, probably 6 weeks where they lost like
6-10, 7-9-ish range. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's like the worst case scenario. And I think, that's I probably pegged the Broncos 8-8, 9-7 because I love the roster. And I'm sorry, I tell you, I'm not Drew Lock's biggest believer yet.
Nah, neither am I.
All right. So you're not
for sure. The last time I told
not a crazy idiot.
I told Animal because he wore his Lock jersey. The last time I bought a quarterback jersey was Brock Osweiler, and we all know how that ended up. So I don't buy.
Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
I don't buy Broncos quarterback jerseys at all. So yeah, there was. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know because that offense could definitely not work out. Especially, I like Shermer. but like I don't want to say Shermer's never had that much weapons, but he never really has had to like actually make personnel decisions. Really, like he's never had to choose between 3 running backs,
No.
5 receivers, 3 tight ends. Like so, it's going to be interesting
He
to
might
see.
be overwhelmed. Pat Shermer, listen, he was just my head coach for 2 years. And I know he was very high on Drew Lock, like just reading like the Giants beat reports and everything. He liked Drew Lock, so I'm sure this was an easy destination for him to land as offensive coordinator. But he's very bland, man. You're going to get really annoyed with Pat Shermer's play calling.
Mm-hmm.
He might have a little too much to work with, to be honest.
Yeah, especially because
He's like a guy that gets overwhelmed. So
yeah, and lack of training camp. So I mean, obviously they have meetings and stuff. So like maybe he's catching on.
Not
but
the same thing as like OTAs and whatnot.
For sure, yeah. So we'll have to reevaluate. Max said he wanted to redo one closer to the season. Maybe we can readjust our bias, maybe or something for sure. And I told him when we started off the podcast, I was like, it's probably nice that you don't have to get yelled at by Snacks and Nick about the Falcons and Giants and actually be able to talk about it. And he was excited, so it was a good time.
Well, hopefully, I mean, my team's probably the worst of the 3. So one day, we're gonna do this podcast till death, fade the public. So one day we'll all be in the playoffs at the same time and just want to beat the shit out of each other. So.
There you go. All righty, we have 4 picks left. The Seattle Seahawks took another weird edge rusher linebacker in LJ Collier. Every year I do the whole Pete Carroll's clues or whatever he does on Twitter every year. Like he throws songs out there. Like last year he played the piano song. I can never figure out why it has any relation to what to this.
Weird dude.
Yeah, I don't know. So my redraft pick was McCole Hardman. Actually, I think definitely not what they were going for because they got DK obviously, but they also didn't really like DK because they would have not let him fall to pick 62.
Right.
So I think coming back on it, I think Hardman's a very valuable player to an offense, and people might be like he plays 20 snaps a game, but like he had 26 catches. Touchdowns. Yeah, 6 touchdowns on 26 catches. Like that's valuable. No matter who does it. Like if it's just some random guy, it's valuable. So I think it definitely wouldn't have solved their wide receiver answer because, like I just said, you're not playing Hardman on every snap. And Lockett is an alpha, but I think Lockett needs that outside help in DK. So I think it's just more of a fun pick. In reality, I saw there was a article on 4for4, and it like broke down the last 10 years of draft picks and like how successful teams have been. And Seattle's number 1. As crazy that has been the last 10 years. Probably a lot of it was Russell Wilson, but
yeah,
it's crazy because every year we're like, well, if Seattle would have taken this guy instead of this guy instead of this guy, they'd have been this good. But they're doing just fine, it seems like, every single year. So I think McCole Hardman here, that definitely would have been a luxury pick. Because I think people were – I know I mocked them to take a receiver at this pick. It probably would have been N'Keal Harry at the time because it's what they needed. It's really the only thing they needed. But, yeah, McCole Hardman at this pick. And who would you have gone here?
I would have went N'Keal Harry here. Seeing that they took DK third, I like the McCole Hardman pick. That's like you said, that's fun. That's sneaky fun. Give Russell Wilson some speed. Let him scramble out and just throw the fucking ball, heave ho to Hardman down the field. That's fantastic. But talent wise, coming in, I would have taken N'Keal Harry here. That's who I had mocked.
I was just looking down. I don't even have Harry in my first round, but I think Harry is still a good receiver, and I think people are extremely.
Honestly, it's been circumstantial. That's why it's not like talent-wise he's not a first rounder. It's just circumstantial how everything fell for your draft.
For sure. Alrighty, the last pick of your Giants here. They took DeAndre Baker. We don't even have to go into his whole scenario he had this offseason or whatever, or didn't have, or whatever happened. I went Sean Murphy-Bunting here. The Buccaneers got him. I think it'd be between him and Byron Murphy here. I think that corner definitely was a need last year because they did not have James Bradbury last year, and Murphy-Bunting played really good kind of the whole year for the Bucs and then really, really good at the end of the year. So that'd be my pick there. But I think Byron Murphy would easily be the same, you could say, if you picked him here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know how you pegged me as drafting the same goddamn guy that you just took. Like, out of all the blue, because DeAndre Baker – he had some like problems in Georgia and whatnot, say laziness and everything. So right off the rip, if I knew that as general manager, I'm probably not taking him. So we desperately needed cornerback help. We did. Like Jenkins was on his last legs, or out the door, whatever you want to do. Murphy-Bunting was solid. He could play. So at pick 30, why not? This is your third first-round pick. Why not take a guy with huge upside at cornerback in a position for desperate need? You got your quarterback. You got your for me, you got your quarterback. You got your center for the future. Start working on that defense. That was an atrocity. So that's why I took Murphy Bunting here, and we are in complete agreement. Which at pick 30, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I think
shocked for the same one.
I think the one thing people I think are like they would have taken Baker here, even though despite the laziness. I think the Delpit is a good example this year. Like, he's a stud. Like, he's a good football player. But he obviously had issues if he fell to round 2 because there was laziness concerns and stuff. And I think we're seeing teams let those guys fall because in reality, it's okay if you draft your franchise cornerback 3 at pick 30. Like, you need that. So, like, I think people just overvalue like every pick has to be – every first-round pick has to be the next insert position franchise guy. So I think – yeah, I think especially because like he was a good example that year. And then obviously he had his issues this offseason like 2 months ago. Delpit's another one that I think he fell to the Browns, if I remember right. That was like he's lazy, blah blah blah. That's why Winfield rose above him.
All the same thing. And Baker as a talent, really good. He was very good in Georgia, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And scheme wise, like last year with the Giants as a rookie, he was obviously lazy. There was reports he was falling asleep in meetings and shit. But James Betcher ran zone defense the whole time. Like, that's not how you use DeAndre Baker.
No.
He's a man coverage guy. He wasn't Georgia. He was, his whole SEC career, and he was a lockdown corner in the SEC. So I got the pick when they made it, but utilize your talent. What does he do good? And this is why I like the Joe Judge hiring, because he kept saying we're not fitting square poles or circular poles in square holes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You're going to use your talent the best way it is. And DeAndre Baker, if he gets off of this stuff, if he plays man coverage, if they use him in man coverage, I truly think the sky's the limit for him. He's got to get his head on his shoulders, obviously, because clearly psychotic, but he was just used wrong, and I would not have taken him at 30. So
I think
that's why I took, in my opinion, the next best cornerback on the draft board in Murphy Bunting.
I'm assuming you guys are going to go to man, like just off topic.
Oh, yeah.
You got Bradbury, so that, like he's like one of the best man corners.
And DeAndre Baker, that was his strength. So if he's on the team, they're playing man.
Yeah,
Patrick Graham is very aggressive blitzer, very aggressive in man coverage. And I like with Peppers and McKinney roaming in the back.
And Julian Love, too.
Sneaky good secondary. Julian Love, absolutely. Bradbury, you saw what he did against the little best receivers probably in football, like Evans and Julio and these guys. Shut them down. Like that was a very good signing. Bradbury, Baker over there, McKinney, Peppers, sneaky good secondary. As long as Patrick Graham plays man defense, blitzes these linebackers.
I agree. It'll be good. We hope it'll be good. All righty, the Falcons, 2 more picks. The Falcons, like I said, they traded back up to the Rams here, or maybe they had the pick. I don't know. The Rams traded away all their first rounders, it seems like. They took Caleb McGarry. He was not the one with the heart problem or whatever it was, if I remember. I think he just got hurt, flat out hurt. Lindstrom had some, health issue. That's why he couldn't play. I took Dalton Risner here for the Falcons, just basing they needed O-line. I was pumped to get Risner in round 2. He was definitely a guy that I knew would be a long-term O-lineman because he just wouldn't play bad. I'm not saying he's just this, I don't know. I'm trying to even think, big name, Zach Martin, all pro, blah, blah, blah. But I think, like I said, it's okay to take long-term average answers at any point in the draft. That's where you build good teams. So I think definitely would have helped.
That was a phenomenal pick, yeah.
Yeah, he was on the all-rookie first team, if I remember right, because the O-line was just so bad last year for rookies. But, yeah, definitely would have helped the Falcons last year because their O-line was something for sure last year. So that's who I went with here. And who did you pivot to?
I had Juwan Taylor here. Same thought process. Offensive line help, it was desperately needed in Atlanta. So I took Taylor, who at the time was, where do you go? Early second, I believe. I think.
He fell to the Jaguars. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not the greatest pick ever, but at that point in juncture, I'm going to take him for Atlanta. Hopefully his upside hits. So.
For sure. All righty. Like we said, N'Keal Harry, we've been talking about him a lot here. 32, the New England Patriots probably shocked a lot of people and took N'Keal Harry here. They were mocked I know corner they were needed, O-line because their O-line was getting kind of old on contract. So I had to do it here. I took Gardner Minshew. I despise Gardner Minshew. He's not a good football player. Just because he has a mustache and jorts does not mean he's a good football player.
Doesn't make him.
I had to do it. I had to do it just for the podcast because in reality to last year, you look at it this year, that's probably who they should have taken. I don't know if it would have been Minshew, but like they should have taken probably Drew Lock here. Or I don't even know who the other.
Drew Lock would probably have been perfect there. If he's going to learn under anybody.
I'm trying to think who the other quarterbacks were after Lock.
Oof.
I don't even know, to be honest with you. No one really. Yeah, I think it would have been Lock, and then there's obviously some in the third and fourth round, but then
Garrett Stidham. Well, that's who they took in the fourth round.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be. But yeah, so I think AQB, and in this case, it's the next best one from last year in Minshew. Minshew's not a franchise quarterback, no matter what team he's on. Like
listen. There's only one Tom Brady. There's a reason Minshew was a 6th round pick.
Yeah. And he was a 6th round pick while leading the nation in passing yards too. So like come on. So that's my pick here.
A lot more than we do.
Yeah, it's I don't know, whatever. People love the mustache and American flag, jorts combo thing, whatever. They're gonna have the number 1 pick next year, and he's not gonna be a quarterback. So did you have anything different here at this pick? Or?
Yeah, I did. Well, they took N'Keal, and obviously I took N'Keal before that. So I took this. I guess you'd call this a fun pick for me too. I took Deontay Johnson.
Ooh,
I took pick 32. Clearly the Patriots needed receiver help, and I was thinking about taking Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name now? I'm gonna scroll up. The Broncos took him. The guy the Broncos took. Risner. Because Patriots need offensive line help too. And you put him with Skarnecki, he would have been fine. He would have been probably all-pro rookie year. But they went Harry, so I figure I'll keep him with receiver, and Deontay Johnson has all the talent in the world. And you put him with Brady and you put him in Belichick's system, I think he would have excelled year 1. We would have known about Deontay Johnson week 2 as opposed to like week 10 of last year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that's where I went. I wanted to get Deontay in there in the first round, but that's how I rounded it out.
Hey, he could be the Steelers' franchise receiver too, from what we saw last year, and the rumors of Juju not signing back. So, yeah, that's a good pick for sure. There's so many guys we probably could have added in for sure that I definitely think are.
We left out tons of guys, but you know what?
It's part of it, I guess.
I think we fucking nailed it.
We did. All right, so that was good. That was fun. I was thinking about what we could do because I was talking with Max and I was like, I wouldn't be able to talk about the Giants because I know virtually nothing, and he was like, I don't even know what his suggestions were, and I thought of this, but we'll have to get you and Max on for some type of podcast of some sort. I don't know. We'll have to figure something out.
I would love to. I don't want to say the wrong word. A threesome's probably the wrong word. A 3-way podcast.
There you go. Sure.
I'd love to do a 3-way podcast for us two because, me and Max alone, we shoot the shit all the time, and you're like the perfect voice to come right
there
in.
We go.
So that would be a ton of fun. And I'm really happy you brought doing like a redraft up like this. So I think we nailed it out of the park. Couldn't have been better.
We could be GMs for sure. All right. You can, if you want to plug any of your podcast or the Bagels and Locks or anything, I'll let Max take it away here. So go for it if you want.
Yeah. So if you guys want to follow snacks_BDGE, you can follow on Twitter. We do Fade the Public every Friday on the BDGE YouTube channel. During the football season, every Sunday, 8 a.m., Bagels and Locks is released. That is mine and Animal's picks for the week. For that Sunday week, we do 3 picks a week until we get into the playoffs. Then we pick every game. It's a lot of fun. You will not be disappointed. I promise.
It's entertaining for sure. I told Nick last year, I was like, you should post it earlier than Sunday and make it like a longer show. I don't know how easy that would work because it's definitely entertaining to say the least. And it came down to the wire last year, to the last.
It did, and I will say, and you know what, I have been mad at myself since the middle of last year. I tell Max I got very lazy when we had the viewers throw a pick in. I was coming home from New York City. I was getting off the train, going right to Max's, and we were recording then. And I was like, all right, who did our viewer pick? Houston -4. I said, okay, I'll take Tennessee +4. Like I just went complete opposite. It was on me. I was hot. I started like 13-2.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got lazy. I got complacent. But I promise you right now, right fucking now, June 17th, 9:51 Eastern Time, PM, I will beat Animal by minimum 5 games. Minimum.
All right, that's going on Twitter now. I got to clip that and put that on Twitter. I'll get that to Scott too for sure, because he'll definitely work with that for sure. So, all right, this was fun. We'll do more. I don't know what we're gonna do, because the topic of this podcast, what I told people was there was none, because I don't really know the topic of the podcast is.
And I thought that was a brilliant strategy. Screw it.
Yeah.
Just when you tweet it out, say this is what we're doing. Boom. That's it.
For sure. All right.
You're very good at what you do. Keep grinding it. I love doing this with you. Thank you for having me on, man.
We'll see you guys next week.